Hi, I'd like to share a personal experience, perhaps we can call it a personal wound, that I've worked with throughout many years of my life and continue to work through. And I feel like it can be pretty universal. It's the energy of rejection. And in my personal experience, I came into a family dynamic where rejection was, I think, subconsciously embedded. I was a love child, so I constantly struggled to be seen, to be heard, to fit in. Whether it was in my younger years, I have great parents, I love them, yet, upbringing was what it was. And so my challenges as a child were that to fit in, to be seen. We moved a lot, so again, figuring out where I belong and being accepted, being loved. And then in my teen years, very similar. It showed up a lot in my relationships. I was learning how to work with masculine energy. Again, coming from childhood and relationship with father, it was like, okay, how do I navigate this world? How do I allow myself to be received? And so a lot of that energy came out as, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to figure it out. And, if I'm not seen, I'm going to make myself seen some way, somehow. And so it just became like this constant battle of like how to fight off the rejection, and so these layers have been coming up. I feel like healing happens through layers and it's a process. And so this past month, that energy has been coming up again, because in my last experience, I felt deeply in love with someone, and it was like energy of rejection all the way. And for many years, I fought it. I wanted to be in that person's life. It came from such a place of lack and desperation that I look back now and I'm like, geez, sorry. And so, one thing is sometimes we are rejected and it's really a protection. Another thing is sometimes we're rejected and we then act out from what we feel is heart-based, but it's really a place of lack and desperation. And also then it can show up as us rejecting others. And because that happened to me as well, then, I had someone come into my life whose heart was really open and accepting and willing, and I was like, my heart's not open, I'm not ready to accept. And so I rejected, I sent it back. And so I got to see both sides. I've experienced what it's like to be rejected, and I also rejected others because I wasn't ready, because my heart wasn't in it. And so it's very hard for me to be in something that I don't believe in, and it shows. It'll show up eventually. So I learned my lesson that way. So this energy of rejection, I was constantly working on ways to be seen in this person's life, to be a part of it. It was like, hey, I love you unconditionally, like want me. It's like a lost puppy. And, these past few weeks have shown me that it was coming from this really, really inner core wound of rejection, of abandonment, of this inner child, this inner teen that was constantly working on being accepted and seen and received. When we look at the word rejection, it comes from Greek, reseire, and it's to send back, right? To throw back. And every time I would be thrown back, it was like, I'm coming right back in without really checking in with myself. And now I'm checking in with myself and asking like, what about myself have I rejected? Like, what have I rejected physically about my body? What have I rejected emotionally? What emotions have I sent back? Have I not wanted to process? Have I felt like I needed to avoid or not feel? What ideas, what of my mental attitude, my thoughts, my beliefs have I rejected that would serve me if I looked at? And what about my spiritual nature have I rejected and sent back because I was afraid or because my heart wasn't open to it? And, that's helping me shift how I process this energy of rejection, because like I said, it's in layers. It comes up and in different situations still come up to like, almost like, hey, how's this wound healing? And so I'm bringing this up because I feel like many of us, a lot of women, yet also men, go through experiences where we're rejected, and it sucks. And I suppose the message is to check in with self, make sure that what you're actually looking for or going for is coming from the heart space, and it's coming from a place of love and fulfillment being fulfilled, rather than a place of desperation and lack and this ego energy of like, I want to be loved, I need to be loved, look at me. And see what shifts, see what areas of your life you've rejected for self that you've looked for other people to fill, because that's the only way that energy will start to heal. Again, this could be very based on inner child, inner teen, and now adulthood, looking at all those layers, how to shed them, and how to really accept self, love self, and come from a place of love of the heart, coming from this place of already being full. Because once we're full, like, nothing can be rejected. So that is today's message. Look at all those layers of rejection and fill them up with love. Namaste.